Welcome to our review on blood. So what we're going to do in this little review is have a look at the different types of blood cells and components of the blood and what they actually do for us. So first of all, we're going to look at the red blood cells, and hopefully you do remember that the job of that red blood cell is to carry oxygen from the lungs to the respiring tissue. The red blood cells actually have a few adaptations that make them very good for carrying out this function. So first of all, they're very small, and that's important because they need to fit through the capillaries, which are the smallest blood vessels in our body. They've also got a very large surface area to volume ratio, and that means that they can have a very rapid diffusion of oxygen across the membrane. Now their shape is also important. If you look at the diagram there, you can see that they've got that kind of dip in the middle. Now that's called a biconcave disc shape, and the whole purpose of that is to increase that surface area to volume ratio. If we look inside the red blood cell, we'll find it doesn't have a nucleus, and that's important because it leaves lots of room for haemoglobin. And finally, it does contain this haemoglobin, which is the carrier protein we've looked at, all to do with transporting the oxygen from the lungs to the respiring tissue. So haemoglobin then we know is a protein, and what actually happens is as it gets to the lungs, the oxygen there reacts with the haemoglobin to make this chemical called oxyhemoglobin. When the oxyhemoglobin reaches the respiring tissues, then it breaks down and releases the oxygen, and that's then delivered to those respiring cells. Second type of cell that's important then in our blood is the white blood cell. And what they do is they help to defend us against disease. So there's two ways they can do this. First one is that they can produce these chemicals called antibodies. And the second way is by ingesting the bacteria and the viruses and then digesting them. So that's a process called phagocytosis. The next component of importance to us are these things called platelets. Now your platelets are small cells that actually help to clot your blood when you cut yourself. So this is important for two reasons. One, it stops you bleeding to death, kind of important. And secondly, once we've got a clot over any kind of wound, then no bacteria can enter it, and therefore it protects us from infection. The last component we need to make ourselves aware of is the plasma. Now plasma is a straw-coloured liquid that's got all of the other things carried in it. In addition to those cells we've looked at, it's got other things that are carried or dissolved in it as well. And those include things like the cholesterol, hormones, any excess water, waste products, any digested foods, and any excess heat as well. So the plasma is important because it allows us to carry a variety of other chemicals around the body as well.